Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about should you be lurking, and if you should be lurking, when. So, the main thing I want to point out here is that so many people get this completely wrong. I'd say the average person, when you go into matchmaking, probably doesn't really understand how to lurk correctly at these lower ranks. And I see a lot of people that say, hey, Vu, I am a lurker, yada, 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 yada. I want to say quickly, if you say you are a lurker, you are probably not a lurker, you're probably just baiting, and it's very important to recognize the difference. For example, watching the flank typically isn't really lurking. That's just watching the flank. And if you typically watch the flank every time your team goes in somewhere, you're not lurking, you are in fact baiting. And if you go into every round with the idea that, oh, I'm a lurker, I'm gonna go and play a lurk role, you are again not lurking, you are baiting. Because typically what happens when you go into any given round in a matchmaking game, your team probably doesn't have all that many strats. So you might be running a strat once in a while, but you're probably just kind of working picks and kind of doing your own thing. And so your goal every round should be to have as good of a round impact as possible given your scenario. So for example, on Dust 2, you might be heading up Cat. This is probably where I would be heading on most rounds, is up Cat, because I feel like it's a place that has, plenty of map control. Once you get it, you can execute in many ways, and there's plenty of reasons that I like to go up Cat. However, let's just say for an example, I'm heading up Cat here, and we have two teammates working towards B. Now, imagine for a second in this hypothetical that those two teammates do manage to pick up a frag at B and they push in and take B site control, and the bomb could be anywhere on the map, but the bomb is safe to rotate over to B. This is where you should have this kind of light go off in your head that says, oh, now I should be lurking. And the reason for this is, again, you want to have the most round impact possible on any given round. So how much round impact are you really kind of contributing if you go back through tunnels and go to B? Well, really very little, because generally you're just going to end up having to hold the flank anyways, because who else is going to hold the flank? You're the last one towards the site, and someone needs to hold the flank anyways, so you're really not getting much done if you do that. And that really only leaves a couple of possibilities. You can lurk through Cat here, watch the mid flank for a minute, and then kind of late lurk out mid doors. Or you can walk up Cat, delay, and then kind of drop down and get this quick flank on their players outside of B. Now, both are equally kind of relevant forms of lurking, and both work very well, because what you're really doing is you're saying, okay, my team has won us this round. I just need to kind of ensure that we can close it out. So what you're trying to do, again, have as much round impact as possible on any given round and in any given situation. And the very key thing here, again, I will state it one more time, you do not go into rounds in matchmaking and in pugs with the idea that you are going to lurk, because that will just have you doing weird things like kind of sitting outside long doors. It'll have you sitting in long doors, kind of holding angles. It'll have you in lower B tunnels, kind of holding this while your teammate goes up Cat. And while these aren't always necessarily terrible ideas, there might be, reasons behind having them be good in certain scenarios, especially if you're playing with a team. It might be part of a strategy. However, when you go into a typical matchmaking game, you are going to not only have your teammates be mad at you, but you're actually not having the correct winning strategy by playing these very passive angles. Typically, the only person in a game that you can count on is going to be yourself. So what you want to be doing is you want to be trying to make sure that on every round, you're actually winning the round for your team. You're not just kind of sitting in these very passive angles, allowing your team to run in and die. And that's how you're going to have these games where, you get 30 plus kills and your team loses. And I see a lot of people ask me this question. I often top frag, but my team consistently loses. This could be because you are kind of lurking too much, or you could even call it baiting in a lot of these scenarios. You could be playing a little bit too passive. And so this style where it's like, I like to lurk, will lead to this kind of problem. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.